Well, the New York Quartet is four books that follow a character named Manny Cole, who is my one of my many doppelgangers within my works. But that sort of came to an end with my book 64, which wrapped up a lot of the major ties of the major figures there. But through a few other works, I've mentioned some of these other characters. For example, in my spy novel, there's mention of Joey Greco, who's one of the major characters, one of the two major characters in this book. Then I have mentioned Big Frank and Bit von Rheingold and Paulie Maravelli here and there. In a book I did 3 years ago, Noir Kid, Paulie Maravelli has a few scenes with the wrestler Gorgeous George. And I think my next novel, probably at the end of this year, is probably going to be another wrestler novel on a guy named Superstar Billy Graham. But it may or may not be. It may be just a loose trilogy if I end up doing three wrestler novels. But then I did after Noir Kid. I did no Noir was not. Did I do Noir?
Noir Child?
No, Noir Kid, and then I forget what. No, I think I might have done either. I did Noir Kid before The Custodian's Bitch or after. But then after a couple of the shorter novels, I did Levels, which was a longer book, which is about a guy, another one of my doppelgangers, sort of lost in some sci-fi predicament, or maybe it's a psychological predicament, or maybe it's a fantastical predicament. And so in doing that, I wanted to get grounded. And just as what I had with the Vincetti brothers, for 20 years before I wrote the book, The Vincetti Brothers, I wanted to do a book on the real life people behind the Vincetti brothers, and it didn't come to me for 20 years. And ever since I finished the New York Quartet, I did want to expand out on this character called Sally T, who I first wrote about the real Sally T in my true life memoirs. And then he appears as a minor mob figure in assorted short stories and longer books here and there. But I wanted to, since he was probably the most connected guy that I knew, who actually knew me by name, and he helped get me out of this thing called the company where I was working after 4 years. He first got me in and then got me out. I always wanted to write something with him in it, and you toss ideas around in your mind here and there, and it didn't really come to me until I thought, well, let me take the Joey Greco character, who appears first in the Vincetti brothers as sort of the sidekick to the character of Gino Vincetti. Then he appears in the spy novel as the day boss in the 1990s of the Maravelli crime family, meaning that he was the nominal head, but he was really more of a figurehead as Big Frank was in the back. And he has two or three really good scenes in that book. And I said, well, let me put him in charge of the Maravelli family. And he's the guy who tanks the Maravelli family and ends up busting it. And so I had these two ideas of the story of Sally T and of Joey Greco. And just like I did with the what was it, the which book? Oh, was it Noir Kid? Yeah, with Noir Kid, I had one of the major characters, the wife, going forward in time, and I think the wrestler Gorgeous George going backwards in time. But I actually had that idea of doing that for this book first, and I sort of did a test run in the earlier book. So here I take the Joey Greco character from 2022 back to 1984, and then I take the Sally Sally T character from 57 to 84, and the book ends in 1984 with both of their perspectives on a random event, seemingly random event. Now they knew each other here or there, but they don't get sort of officially tied.